show. Barbershop sports is like tic-tac-toe. We talking X's and O's. We talking pop culture, clutch shooters, OT skulls. Brand new clothes, brand new flows. Sports all-stars. It's the fourth season. We have come so far. It's like one big family at the barbershop. We argue, but it's love at the barbershop. We don't always agree, but it's still all love. At the barbershop. At the barbershop. Tuned in. It's the barbershop.
We want to thank everybody, like the intro says, who tuned in to the Barbershop Sports Show inside the Barbershop on this 8th episode of 2014, simply titled Junior, because we are so excited for the son of the late, great Dale Earnhardt, the one, the only Junebug, two-time now Daytona 500 champion, Dale Earnhardt Jr. So we want to thank everybody for tuning in. We're going to be talking NASCAR, obviously, but, you know, we got NFL Combine talk, we got a little NBA talk, we got a little bit of everything. Even got some soccer talk for our UK folks who are going to be tuning in tonight. So I want to thank everybody for tuning into the Barbershop Sports Show once again, where if you want to jump in the barber's seat and speak your piece on anything that we'll be talking about tonight, you can give us a call at 646-727-1963. Our home is barbershopsports.com, and we're on Twitter and Facebook, so we're not hard to find. YouTube as well. I do this every week, week in and week out, for the past 4 years, with the best panel in sports pop talk today. You know them, the Barbershop Sports Boys. I'm going to start down south, since I'm down south here in rainy, nasty, gloomy Orlando, Florida. Shout out to the 407. But Big Bucko, man, you from Central Florida as well, but now you're holding it down in beautiful Atlanta, GA. What's good, brother?
Yeah. Hey, man, it is down here in the South. That's right, with an F, South. Well, we love life. Spring ain't quite sprung yet. It's just a gloomy day in the A as well. But we're going to push through. We're going to bring some sunshine to your night. And let's get it, man.
Oh, yeah. You know how we do, man. And so we're going to take it up north. It's definitely not spring up there, man. They still dealing with cold snaps and snow and all kind of foolishness, man, that we don't know about here in Florida. Because like we say, you never have to dig yourself out of the sunshine, baby. But up there in New York, the state, the Empire State, we'll start in the city that never sleeps. The brother hails out of Queens, New York, but he's currently holding it down in plush Long Island, where the ballers live. Big Ted is in the house. What's up, brother?
Ooh-wee. Yeah, we up in here, Long Island, 631 and 516, but just as you said at the top of the show, this show is global now, so we just can't, focus on the United States. We're talking about Brazil, we're talking about London, we're talking about Croatia, and then some. So passing it back to you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And this brother here is close to another country, almost about an hour away. As a matter of fact, holding it down in the 585, the 315 area, Rochester, Syracuse, in the building. B-Rider Sports Guy, what's up, my man?
Brother Hezzie, it may be in the single digits, but you know what we say. If you can't take the heat, then don't bother coming in the barber seat.
Absolutely. So we are here. We are formed like Voltron. I want to shout out to all our bloggers that write for barbershopsports.com, in addition to us, because we also write as well on the website. Big Todd, AJ, who's got an article out there on the Combine. We got one we're about to publish tomorrow from not our first lady writer, but we got a new one in the chamber, hot, representing the West Coast all day. Miss Carletta Smith, she's got a nice WNBA article in the chamber. So shout out to the whole team, man, everybody that's helping to spread this thing, all the affiliates, man. The new one we just did a partnership with, Renegade Radio, and everybody else that's, been holding it down, I-95, XMLA, Excite, our folks over there in the UK as well. And speaking of the UK, Barbershop Sports has an initiative that we've been doing for the whole 2014 where we big up independent artists that are trying to get their music played. Like Ted said, the reach has expanded for us. Thankfully, we're blessed beyond the United States. So with that said, we got a submission from a band from Birmingham, England. The band is called Crossover. It's a roots reggae band that is comprised of multicultural, multi-age group, and they blend together to make some very beautiful music. We're going to play the hot single that's been getting played all over the world, the UK, Netherlands, Brazil, you name it. It's hot, it's flaming. The single is called 9 Lives, and once again, the band is called Crossover. You're rocking with Barbershop Sports Radio. We'll be back in a minute. All right. Once again,
wow.
That was, yeah, man. I mean, I'm going to have to add that to my musical collection. So, all of you folks out there that was enjoying the sounds coming from across the pond, people, Birmingham, England. Check these folks out. Their website is crossoverlive.com, and that's the way they do it is kind of tricky. It's XO, X like X-ray, O like Oscar, V like Victor, A like Alpha, live.com. There you find out all the information. You'll see their social media contacts as well for their YouTube page, their Twitter account, their Facebook, so on and so forth. So shout out to Crossover, and hopefully, fellas, we can get the lead singer to come into the barbershop to talk about this hot single that they got right now, man. Hopefully. So we'll see. I've already suggested it, and I think we may be in the works on that. So we'll see how that goes. Before we get into the sports, because we're going to be talking junior, we got Bucko fired up and ready to go. We got Chase also in the chamber as well, ready to talk. Little NASCAR, little left, really fast, as I call it. I got a shout out. He gave me a little crap in the chat room, and it's okay. You should have gave me crap because I shouted out his brother, Big Espo, soccer specialist, horse racing specialist. I mean, he got a lot of specialties, but tonight he's going to be coming on later to talk international soccer, for our UK folks. So we'll be looking forward to hearing from him as well, and Big Danny as well, the NBA specialist who comes on the show from time to time to fill in for some of the panelists. So without further ado, Big Bucko, are you ready, brother?
Yeah, stay ready, man. Stay on point like Stokely Adams, man.
I love it. Well, look, man, for you, I know you're a fan of this man, and this guy is immensely popular in the sport. But it had been a long time, man. Dale Jr. had a long drought before, he tasted that sweet, sweet victory. I don't think there's very few races that you can win that's sweeter than the Daytona 500. For you, as a junior guy, man, what was your thoughts when you saw him cross with that checkered flag?
Man, and to speak to your point, it's a great American race. Other than winning a championship itself, there is no higher pinnacle in racing, Super Bowl motorsports. And the 55, Chase can back me up on this, but I'm pretty sure it's a 55 race losing streak. 4 of the last 5 seasons, he has gone winless. And with that pedigree and with that fan base, had to be really, really hard on him. And me in particular, I'm not, the diehard, day in, day out NASCAR fan. I appreciate the sport. I recognize these guys are athletes. It's a very difficult left turn, Hezzie, at 200 miles an hour with 42 people chasing after you.
No doubt.
you have to feel for him, man. He's probably the most loved driver since his father. And to see the trials and tribulations he's endured and to see the joy on his face doing that victory lap, it has to warm your heart up a little bit. You got to feel for the kid, you know what I mean? And we say kid, but he's 40 years old now.
Grown-ass man. No doubt. We got our guy also in the building, Big Chase. What's good, man?
What's up, guys?
Oh, man, we're just fooling, man, talking a little NASCAR, one of your favorite sports, if not the favorite. Am I correct?
Absolutely, man. I love all sports, but my passion is racing.
But what's going on, man?
Bucko, what's up, bro?
Hey, man, same it's different color, man. We're ready to get it going. Just break it down, though. How many races exactly was it? 55 races? Is that correct?
It was 55 or 56, and they only run 36 a year, so he was a good year and a half due, or overdue, should I say. Man, I mean, it's always a good week after a win. You got to think that there was some sort of divine intervention going on with the 3 getting back on the track. That piece of bear bond, which is basically just duct tape on steroids, getting stuck to the grill, blocking up those the air ducts, which gave him a ton more downforce. I mean, it was like for that last 3 laps, he basically had a qualifying setup because they run a full taped-up grill for qualifying because when the air goes into the grill, it slows you down. Anything that slows you down, is not good. And I just had to be divine intervention for that to get stuff on the grill. I mean, he had the best car. He could put it where he wanted to, do what he wanted to do with it, block both lanes. It's a great week after a win.
Yeah, man. So you mean to tell me, by divine intervention, I'm just assuming, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, you think maybe Senior reached down and threw that piece of debris on that grill. Is that what you're suggesting?
I mean, normally in any other race on any other racetrack other than Talladega, if that gets on the grill, your engine will not make it for those last laps. It will get too hot. You'll have water shooting out of the overflow. You will overheat. You'll have to come to pit road. You'll have to. But at Daytona or Talladega, with those restricted engines like they have it, any little advantage will help. And with everybody else having air going into their grill and him not having it go into the grill made his car better. I mean, it turned it into a rocket ship, not that it wasn't already.
Yeah. No, he definitely ran strong the whole race. I mean, but I want to go further. We're all proud of Junior, but I didn't get a chance to talk with you. I don't know how much you're wanting to talk about it. But let's get into Richard Petty and Danica Patrick and the fallout that is the statement and challenge issued by Tony Stewart, things of that nature. Give us your thoughts on that whole situation.
I mean, I agree completely with Richard Petty. I don't think she can win. I am not a sexist person, but I believe that in a pack of 42 cars going 200 miles an hour, you need a set of huevos. You just need them. They're there for a reason. And I just don't think that she's got the makeup to make it work. I mean, she sells a lot of tickets. And that's what she does. But I think she should use it as motivation. I think she should go out and win herself a race and go make Richard Petty sign it. Sign that checkered flag. Put it on the wall. Put it up for auction. Do whatever you do. But I don't think she'll win. This is really a make or break year for her. She sells a lot of tickets. A lot of women follow the sport now because of her. So it's hard to let her go. But in a business where it's what have you done for me lately, she's got to put up or shut up, and this is a year. Because Tony Stewart wants to win, and there's plenty of other capable drivers with wins and championships looking for rides every single year. Look at Kurt Busch, who just picked up.
And to be fair to Danica, the not having the huevos also applies to some of those men that are driving as well. So
absolutely.
We're not actually speaking male parts, people. We're talking the intestinal fortitude to have the drive to win, using a metaphor of huevos. And so let's just be clear on that. No sexism in the barbershop, but we're going to tell it like it is.
It's a PG show. I get it. It's PG. We can take care of that.
Yeah.
No doubt, man. So, jumping in here with the two NASCAR guys, man. What's the next big race in the Sprint Cup Chase?
The Phoenix this week, right, Chase?
Yeah, they're at Phoenix, and it's awesome too because we're going to get to see the knockout qualifying in the Sprint Cup Series. Also, it's great that Dale Jr. won this race because he can pretty much put it on cruise control and just and race his races and doesn't have any stress because he's going to make the chase. It's like a 99% chance that he makes the chase now. And this is probably the best year that he's got going forward in his career to actually win a championship. It's not a point system anymore. It's going to come down to 4 drivers in the last race of the season, and whichever one crosses the checkered stripe first wins the title. And it's going to be his best shot to win.
Yeah, man, that sounds exciting, man. You know what I'm saying? As a casual guy that's starting to work his way into knowing more about the sport, it definitely wets my whistle. So I'm definitely going to be keying in and tuning in more than I have in the past. Now we had this big delay. There was a rain delay, and it was kind of funny to me because they were replaying the 2013 Daytona 500, and I was wondering how many people thought that was the real, that that was the live race. You know, people like, man, Jimmy Johnson won again.
I saw it on Twitter.
Them folks got bamboozled.
Yeah, they got hoodwinked, man.
Oh my goodness! But you know, speaking on that delay, how awesome was it of a fan base that follows NASCAR that at 8:30, after a 6.5-hour rain delay, the stands were still packed. Everybody was still there. They went out into the parking lot. They took another couple of shots, did a few more keg stands, and came back in just as amped up as they were at the beginning to see that race.
I love it. Yeah, you know, Chase, you've been telling me, Hez, you got to get out to a track. Hez, you got to get out to a track. I'm going to make my way out to the track, man, because as I understand it, Bucko, Chase has told me that NASCAR is the most fan-friendly sport, period, in America.
Period. The cost-friendly, the environment, everybody's out there just trying to have a good time, man. It is the only sporting event. You can bring your own cooler full of beer and beverages of your choice, whether it be alcoholic or not. You can bring that in there with you. They're not going to make you buy their $8 beers. They're not going to make you buy their $10 turkey legs. I remember me and Chase went to Atlanta Motor Speedway. There was a guy with about a 3-foot wide shrimp platter walking around trying to give women shrimp cocktails and stuff. It was just
wow.
It's a party. It's an experience because the TV really doesn't know justice, man. To see them going 200 miles an hour on TV, it looks cool, but to feel them cars passing and hear them and smell the fuel at 200 miles an hour in person, it's just completely different, man. It's just like hockey. You know, watching it live puts a whole new perspective on it. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Well, you know.
Ed, I'm telling you right now, if you come up to Atlanta Labor Day weekend, I'll buy your ticket and we'll go to a race.
Hey, Ted, that sounds like a deal to me, brother.
Yeah, my ticket too.
Hey, you know, I don't need any excuse to come to Atlanta, but man, you sweetening the deal right there, brother.
I'm telling you, look, you come up here Labor Day weekend, I'll buy your ticket to the race, and we'll go party down at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Hey, Buckle, you coming, brother?
Hey, I'll be, man, the ticket's $25, man. It ain't like he's breaking the bank. I'll be there, and I'll buy my own damn ticket. No, I plan on going. No, it's fun. I really love what they're doing. They're trying to change it, make it more competitive. I love the fact that a driver's not going to be able to finish 27th to win the championship. That excites me a bit. And Dale Jr. winning the race fresh off the bat like this, you know, it invigorates the spirit. So, I'm ready.
Oh, yeah, no doubt, man. You know, last but not least, you know, we here at Barbershop Sports are really big on social media. You know, we tweet all the time. Facebook has always got different topics, plus our blogs that are on barbershopsports.com. Well, Dale Jr. decided that after this, you know, second Daytona 500 victory, that it was time to join Twitter. Now, let me tell you something. The hashtag is 2X Daytona 500 champ. The man got 500,000 followers in 2 hours. 2 hours.
That's right.
Woo!
2 hours.
That's big.
2 hours. To put it in perspective, I think the great Muhammad Ali has been on Twitter now for a week, or it may be his representatives or what have you, but it's got a verified check mark. He's only got 180,000 followers. And Dale Jr. is 500,000 in a matter of hours. You know, the dude, it's a cult following with this dude, man. It really is.
Yeah, no doubt.
If you go to the race at Talladega in May, 200,000 of those 500,000 followers will be there.
Yeah.
That's powerful. That says it all. That brings it home. Well, Chase, man, you know, I understand you got some hot fire in the chamber for those folks that's, you know, novices and folks that's, you know, also passionate like you. We're looking forward to seeing that on barbershopsports.com, man, and we hope that, you know, as what you said, the Phoenix race is the one up next, correct?
That's right.
Okay. All right, well, you know, as we go throughout this Sprint Cup Chase, man, we want you to come through and you know, let us know what's good. We can all chop it up, me, you, and Bucko, and have some fun with it, man.
Hey, anytime y'all want me, I'm there for you.
No doubt. Well, we appreciate. Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Well, we appreciate the love, man. Keep listening, keep rocking with the team, and we'll talk with you soon, brother.
Thanks, y'all. Y'all have a good evening. Have a good show.
All right, Chase.
Thanks,
we'll see you, man.
Later.
All right, later.
Yeah, man.
So
that
man,
was a damn good day.
Yeah. You know, and I just, I found myself, as I'm watching the last few laps, and it seemed like more likely that Junior was going to be the one to pull this off. I got caught up in the wave, and I didn't realize, because again I'm a casual watcher, a follower of this sport. I didn't realize how big Junior was and how much he meant to the sport. But I got pulled in and I realized, I said, man, this dude is large, man.
Yeah, no doubt. We're trying to reach his level one day.
Oh, man, absolutely, man. You know what I'm saying? I go drink a Mountain Dew to that, man. You know what I'm saying? And with that said, we're gonna transition into football. Even though the season is over, we always got stuff going on. NFL goes, all year long. And right now we got these young, collegiate players trying to, show their best stuff, to these teams in this NFL Combine for 2014. And, two of the folks that really stood out above the rest were Jadeveon Clowney. Well, you know what? And Johnny Manziel. But we're going to focus right now on Jadeveon Clowney. Now, Bucko, in his 40 speed, this is the real deal now. What was his official 40 time?
Officially clocked in at a 4.53. The unofficial originally listed at 4.47. The official time has him at 4.53, which for a man that is 6'5", 260 pounds, it should not be possible. It really it doesn't make sense. It defies logic. It really does. It's just not supposed to happen, but it did. The dude's fast. We all know that he's a Rick James super freak of an athlete. We understand that. That's not the question surrounding Mr. Clowney, is it?
No, that's not the question. I mean, I got a chance to see him up close and personal when South Carolina came here to Orlando to play UCF, and yeah, you're right, man. I mean, the guy's a freaking building, in human form. So, I mean, he's a monster, and there's no doubt about it. Now, I was a little bit concerned with the fact that, even though he had that blazing speed time, that he only got 21 reps on the bench press. Now, I know they have workout warriors that come through there and kill it and don't necessarily do anything in the NFL. But, B-Rye, if you could join this conversation with the fellas in the barbershop, Buckle says he has some concerns. Did that give you any concern that he only got 21 reps?
No. I mean, there's 50 linemen that did it, and only 12 did more than he did. And a lot of times, I mean, you said there's workout warriors, but the main thing is going back and watching the tape. You watch what he did in South Carolina, and the way I know there's concern about him with his motor, how much he was really, putting in out there in every single play. But, I mean, you got to go back. Remember, the beginning of the season, people were telling him he shouldn't even play this year. He should just sit out and enter the draft, and he'd still be the first overall pick. So, I mean, it's hard to – I mean, obviously these GMs will indulge into that more and pick his mind and what was going on. But, I mean, that play, not this past year, but the year before against Michigan at the Outback Bowl, ended up being the play of the year when he blasted the Michigan running back in the backfield. I mean, if you were at the top level, you heard that hit, and then he still, caused a fumble and picked it up. And that's just the type of athlete that he is. We talked about his speed, and just those reps really don't concern me. Nothing to where if I'm the Texans, it's going to scare me from taking him with the number one overall pick. I think there's more worry when you look at Johnny Manziel than Jermaine Clowney.
Oh no, absolutely. That's a truest statement as you can make. Right now, I think you're right. The number of reps on the bench press is not what concerns me. You know, guys with freakishly long arms tend to struggle at bench press anyway. That's a natural known fact. But it's the fact of, and it's really the whole combine is becoming a joke. Jadeveon Clowney, Johnny Manziel, guys like that, choosing not to participate in the drills that everyone else has to go through. You know what I mean? This combine, if you're invited to it, I believe you're supposed to participate in it fully, barring injury, of course. You know, the NFL puts up millions of dollars. Under Armour puts up millions of dollars to put this event on, so it's to showcase your ability. And you're only going to participate and run the 40 and bench press, and that's it? Come on, man. Have a little more class, show a little more pride, earn it, act like you want it. You know, don't opt out of your defensive lineman drills. You know what I mean? That just bothers me. It's a false sense of entitlement that I think that he has.
So you have a problem with almost every top quarterback coming in when they don't throw at the combine because they choose to throw at their campus's pro day.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
All right. But I mean, these top picks, I mean, regardless of what happens there, they're going to be there. I think the combine is more for some of those guys out there trying to prove themselves and that do participate in all the drills. And, you know, one guy's name that I heard tossed around a lot and really seemed to impress a lot of people, and I think his stock is rising. I'm not sure if he'll go in the first round, but is A.J. McCarron from Alabama.
Yeah, he threw some pretty balls.
In all the drills. He threw the ball, and, you know, from the reports that I've been reading, you know, a lot of GMs and a lot of people were impressed with his performance at the combine. So, you know, a guy like him where he was considered, you know, probably a late day 2 at best, but probably most likely day 3, just jumped up to probably, you know, solidifying his spot in day 2 now.
Yeah. He'll probably be a third round pick, you know. He'll be drafted, you know, in the middle rounds regardless. He's a champion. He's won, and he took on all challenges. See, the thing with the combine is they're putting you in a stressful situation where you're not familiar with your receivers, where you're not overly comfortable with the play design. They want to see how you react in stressful situations. And these top pick guys don't want to do anything to blemish their top pick status. And I can understand that from a business standpoint, but it irks me. Decline the invitation. You don't have to go to the combine. You can just wait and do everything at your pro day. You don't have to go to the combine. If that's what you're going to do, if you're going to make a mockery of the event, let someone that wants to get a chance to prove himself have your spot. That's my issue with it.
I can dig it, man. It's like it's hard to really break that down. I mean, some guys come in and they do their thing, and other guys save it for the pro days and things of that nature. Sometimes the guys don't even do the pro days, man. They just go straight to the draft. It really depends on what's the situation with the guy. If he's working with any types of injuries or what have you. But or if he's just trying to keep his stock hot, he don't want to go out there, have a bad day passing or a bad day on some of the drills and his stock drops. So it's a multitude of reasons that can keep those guys from doing it. But, we got a blog right now from AJ on barbershopsports.com. And Bucko, you being a guy that really takes a keen interest in quarterbacks, the first guy that he has on his list is this young man out from Eastern Illinois University, Jimmy Garoppolo. And just real quick, I'm not going to give you guys all this hot fire that AJ is working with here, but in this first paragraph, he breaks down. He says, according to Bill Polian, Garoppolo will be a first-round pick. He did not run as well as they thought he would, but he made up for it in the throwing drills. He says that Jimmy has a very quick release and he has good footwork. So, what's your thoughts on this guy, man?
Well, that is his claim to fame. The dude's got a hairline trigger. He can flick the ball out of there, and probably, in watching him a lot, I watched a lot of his film. and I tried to read up on him because I had no idea who he was. I don't get any Eastern Illinois programming down here. And I just watched a lot of his cut-ups, man, his lowlights and highlights. Dude probably throws the prettiest fade ball I've seen in a long time. You know, that end zone fade route. It's a tough throw for a lot of quarterbacks to make. He does it with ease and tremendous accuracy. Good footwork, quick release. You know, my only issue is, you know, he was padding the stats against some terrible, terrible football teams. Mm-hmm. And looking at what I saw on tape, he wasn't pressured very often at all. Like, almost not at all. Like, I think I saw one cut up where he actually was sacked in the pocket. The other time I saw him get sacked was he was running around, didn't know where to go with the football, and then just fell down. You know what I mean? So I really, really don't have a gauge on this kid, but to call him the best quarterback in the draft, no, I can't go that far. And there's a reason why Bill Polian is on TV and not in the NFL if he's thinking that kid's going to be a first-round pick. So,
no doubt. Well, that's why we come and chop it up in the barbershop. We gotta give everybody that real, because that's what they're looking for, man. You know what I'm saying? And they don't get that, from ESPN and a lot of these other, radio shows out there. So thanks for that, that breakdown, man. But like you said, the combine is a chance for these guys that don't come heralded, like, the Manziels and Clowneys of the world, to come out there and get the shine on. Now, the last thing that I want to, kind of really bring up is that, and Ted, maybe you can jump in on this, because they had a big write-up in the New York Post about this. Michael Sam, folks are saying that he had a very disappointing combine. And as I understand it, in the New York Post, they had this, this big write-up, and, do you think all this extra attention is being drawn up on him because of, him, coming out of the closet, as it were, and saying that, he's a gay man? Or, is it because he's this SEC defensive player, and they just didn't like what they saw at the combine? Ted, why don't you start off with that, and then Bucko jump in.
Mm-hmm. I think it's totally what you said. It's in most cases you would say it's a little bit of both. No, it's a lot of both. And the fact that he's defensive player of the year is one thing, but with him coming out, spotlight is on. I mean, if he sneezes, everyone's going to talk about it. So if he underperforms, hey, he's just really put himself out there. And I mean, regardless of his beliefs and everything else like that, we're all proud of him for, being able to be confident enough to say who he really is. But Bucko, I don't know. I mean, it's like already you're going to have you're going to have GMs chirping in the background, and now with him underperforming, now they have the reason for, everyone can just jump out there and say, oh, his stock is dropping. So I don't know. I got to pass it to you on that one. It's a tough one.
Let's really be honest. He was graded, third, fourth round, second highest, depending on combine. Like, he could have showed out at the combine, and his highest prospective draft position would be late second round. And he did at the combine what everyone thought would happen to him. He's not a very good runner. He's not going to blow you away with his measurables. He's undersized. He's overweight for a pass rushing defensive end. He played a lot better than what his measurables would indicate on the field, but he also had a hell of a lot of talent there with him. Kona Ely on the other side, I think, is 10 times the defensive end that Michael Sam is. And he know it. His agents know it. You get a grade from these agencies of what projected round you're going to go in before you even declare for the draft. So he knew he was a middle round draft prospect. No one was going to talk Michael Sam. So what do? There's that elephant in the room of him being homosexual. You use it to your advantage. You don't let the rumors dictate how your story is told. You get in front of it. You tell your story. I commend him for that. But mainly I believe the majority of the reason behind it is a marketing ploy. I've said that. He's going to sell merchandise. He's going to get endorsements out the wazoo. And he's going to be a public figure for, this movement going forward. And good for him for that, but the book is still out on whether or not he's going to be a great football player.
Hey, Bucko, I just want to say this. Will he get drafted?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So the ladies he'll get drafted maybe 6th round. Somebody will draft him. And more than likely will be a progressive city. I can guarantee you it won't be the Arizona Cardinals. But it would have to be, somewhere where they know their fan base and community will be accepting and appreciative of that selection. And also, sell some merchandise. The team makes money off that too. So,
man, you can't do nothing in Arizona, man. You can't be Mexican, man. You can't celebrate Martin Luther King Day, man. And you can't be gay, man. I mean, what can you do in Arizona but sweat, man? It's too hot.
I guess you can sweat, you can drink beer, and you can be German. I guess that's the way it works. It's a different way of thinking over there. I can't grasp it. I don't know what's wrong with them people. But
it's crazy. I think West Coast.
Right. I think I said before the show that I had to go to a tech conference in Arizona a few years ago, and I went to the tech conference, I attended it, and I got back on the plane and headed back to New York. I was like, okay.
People used to feel that way going to Atlanta. Now you're going to Arizona, and you got to, come on. It's strange.
That's crazy.
Strange.
That's crazy, man. But what else is crazy? We got the NFL owners meeting coming up here in Central Florida, in Orlando, to be specific. And one of the things they're going to be discussing, something that we had a charged discussion in getting ready for the show, is a 15-yard penalty for players using the N-word on the field. Now, we know 95%, I can even go higher than that, of the players that are going to be using this N-word are going to be African American.
Yeah.
Use it towards each other. So, this goes deeper than, just the surface level as we're talking about it here. This is something that goes down into society, into culture. It permeates, our landscape. To some people don't like that it does with this particular word that can be very, painful to some folks. And, some folks just look at it as a term of endearment. As a matter of fact, Michael Wilbon used it on his show on ESPN. So, and he was saying that it's used, as a term of endearment. So with that said, is the NFL really trying to cause infractions for speech? Do they really want to step on that cliff?
Roger Goodell is messing this game up. For those of you who follow the site, Bucko brings it every Sunday. On Sunday, be on the lookout. I'm going to let you know exactly why. I'm going to go in depth of why this man is ruining the game. But the pussification of America is something that I strongly, strongly preach against, and it continues before my eyes in every single damn level. Is this word wrong? Absolutely. Does it have negative connotation? Absolutely. Not every way is it used to be negative. And for you to sit there and have the balls, the wherewithal to think that you have the ability to police how a man speaks and what words he can and cannot say, that is just absolutely stupid. And I can't condone it. Do we need to rid the word from our society? Yeah, I can get along with that. Do we need to get rid of racism, period? Yeah, I can get along with that too. But for you to sit there and tell a man what he can and cannot say, this is dictatorship, man. Who are you, Putin? What, are they going to get stabbed in the back or something if they don't follow your rules? I'm just tired of it. That once a team loses a game because it's just natural vernacular for that player to use that word, and they get penalized and get put out of field goal range, to lose a game because they said a word in a celebratory fashion, is it's going to be an uproar. It's going to go crazy. If they pass this rule, which all inclination is that it's going to happen, I'm just losing more and more faith in us as a society and the NFL as a whole. Period. It's getting sad.
No doubt. So, B-Ride, brother, when you first heard this, man, what did you think about it?
I trying to do something to, combat that word. I mean, we've had discussions on here in the past, about that word and what context it's used in and everything like that. And, I grew up in, in Rochester, and when I played Pee Wee football, I mean, I was the only white boy on my team. And so, I've been around it, but I've never used it myself. I got a lot of African-American friends that I grew up with and played basketball with every day after school at the community center and stuff, and it was just something I'd never, there's other people that would use it, but I don't know, I just never liked that word, and so I never used it. And, for what Bucko to say there, you go in most workplaces, Bucko, and you can't say what you want all the time. There's a professionalism that you have to use. I know football is different, but I can't go into work. I know I work in the school system, but I can't just start dropping F-bombs and saying anything like that. There's a certain level of, professionalism that I have to maintain for that time period. I mean, once I get off, I'm out with my friends, I can say what I want. I have my freedom of speech there. But I think you go in a lot of workplaces, you can't really say exactly a lot of times what you want to say.
That's a solid argument. That's a solid argument, B. I want to give you that. That's a good view I'm not really looking at. I think I agree with that. But don't part of you think that maybe Goodell and company just thinks society is as dumb as they think we are, and this is just a Band-Aid to cover up the negative light that is the incognito situation, that is the Riley Cooper situation. Do you not think that this is just a Band-Aid they're trying to put on it, and that they're just trying to pull the wool over our eyes? Because that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it like that too. But also, I don't know, maybe it's just me trying to, find good faces that maybe by instilling this onto this generation of players, maybe stop them from using it so much, or have a trickle-down effect on today's youth if they see, players that they're looking up to not using that word. And, I mean, people are products of their environment. Obviously they hear the word all the time, whether it be from music, their friends, and even, family members. So, maybe I'm just thinking, it's not going to completely erase the word right away, but, I think maybe this is a step in the right direction of, getting rid of the word. Everyone knows the meaning, and both negative and the one that's used as a term of endearment. But how do you, if you, I look at it like, say you have a 2 6-year-olds, and one's white and one's black, and the black one's using that word, and the white one picks it up, he's not going to know, he dropped that in front of the wrong people, and there's going to be some pissed off folks, but, he's a child, he doesn't know the difference. It's just, I think the word, Jesse Jackson has come out, and he's trying to get rappers to use it less in their music. I'm speaking from a white person, and I don't, like I said, I don't say it, but, there's, you could say, we could say it, but you can't. I don't know, it seems kind of hypocritical to me from my standpoint. I'd like to hear the other guys' take on it, but I'm just saying from my standpoint, it it's just, it's crazy.
Ryan Bucko, I'm go ahead, Hez.
No, go ahead and I'll follow after you, Tay. Break it down.
All right. I'll be brief. Unlike last night's discussion amongst us, it's disheartening overall because it's for African Americans themselves, and I sit here as one that will use a derogatory term. Period. And the fact that you've had so many different talking heads, on TV, on radio, saying, "Oh, it's this term," and "Oh, I meant it this way." I don't say the word. I do say. You shouldn't use it. Period. Just like that. But that's the whole thing about the culture. So we go back. We got to step back to the culture and say, why is within this culture that they would use a derogatory term against themselves and then scream bloody murder when someone from a different race calls it out. And that just comes from lack of self-respect and everything else. We all know what happened, coming up 50, 60, 70 years ago. So, that's one piece on it. Number two, you got to remember, at the end of the day, the NFL generates how much? How many billions a year? This is their product. So, once again, Goodell and friends, the 30 billionaires, are going to dictate what's going to be done with their product, how it's going to be displayed out there on the field. And, are these billionaires out of touch? You tell me. Would they know about being in Rochester? Would they know about being in Southside Queens? Would they know about being in certain urban areas? No, they don't know anything about that. But you're their product. They own you because they have you to a contract that's only guaranteed to a certain point. So looking at all of that, looking at the lack of leadership amongst African Americans, because I don't see other American, I don't see Italian Americans, Asian, Hispanics referring to themselves in a certain fashion and being okay with it, or saying, having that double standard. So there's social issues here, but you got to remember last season, not putting it on Incognito and Riley Cooper, it just reared its ugly head. So Goodell and friends are sitting here saying, okay, how do we deal with this? Because Incognito could spew whatever out of his mouth and still have the locker room behind him. So, I think culturally we're in trouble. It's much deeper than this. And I think for the billionaires and for Goodell, this is just something that they're taking control of or they're addressing just because it presented a problem to them. Now, there's no other way I can. Me personally, I'm disgusted by this, and we have to look at the First Pilot Alliance to say what's their take on it, because I think they've done a half-assed job with the whole overall diversity with hiring of coaches and GMs. So you hear sound bites from people and they state, oh, this is a done deal, this is what's happening. I don't know. It's me personally, I'm not happy with this overall, but I'm not happy with the culture itself, and less with Goodell and the owners. We shouldn't even have to be having this conversation if we had a little bit of self-respect. As to you.
Well, thank everybody for all their points, breaking it down barbershop style. But, me personally, I'm disgusted for a whole different reason. This is an exercise in hypocrisy to me. For you to say you're going to call a 15-yard penalty for this, and you got a team that's named the Redskins that you don't even care about trying to address. Whenever, the Indian nations have, expressed their malcontent in this, the Oneida Nation came through personally, the chiefs, leaders of that nation, and you didn't even give it any serious thought. Dan Snyder, arrogant, no way, I'm not changing it. And the way that African Americans are, in my opinion, treated in this game, especially when it comes to legal matters and things of that nature, as opposed to their counterparts. This is just it's as hypocritical as their fake concern about concussions. This is just all ridiculous. First of all, NFL is not a corporate office on the field. You may have a corporate office in New York, but ain't none of them players up there. I think about the NFL like I think about construction workers. Could you imagine, the foreman on a construction site telling guys, they can't say the foul things that they say on a daily basis? Come on, man. It's not even realistic. So I'm just disgusted that this is even a discussion, because this is not something that they should even get themselves involved in. This is a Band-Aid on a much, much deeper issue. And then on the same level, you got other glaring issues that you're not addressing. What about the use of the F word that rhymes with maggot? What if I use that as a player against Michael Sam? Do I get 15-yard penalty? That's not up for discussion. There's so many derogatory terms that you could use. What if I called your mother a whore? Should I get a 15-yard penalty for that? Where do you draw the line? These guys, when they're in the trenches, they say the worst things that they can say to get in each other's heads. That's the nature of the game, man. We're not talking about lawyers and doctors and engineers. We're talking about athletes, guys that are full of testosterone. It's a beastly game, man. Beastly. You need evidence. Look at the concussions. Look at the ACL tears. This is a ferocious game. That's like going tell a lion he can't roar. That's what a lion does. You don't have any place in that discussion. This is just ridiculous to me. It's hypocritical. Roger Goodell is just a big phony. And none of these owners, 60, 70-year-old owners who have no idea how to relate to these players that work for them, they don't belong in this discussion at all. It's just foolish. I'm off of my soapbox. We can move on from that. But I just think it's disgusting. We all know the history of the N-word, but for the NFL to fake like they care about African Americans, get out of here, man. It's ridiculous. So, anyways, Ray Rice was spotted dragging his old lady, fiance. I say old lady. That's a New Orleans reference to your girlfriend, but his fiance.
That's not just New Orleans. I use it too.
Okay, all right. So maybe it's a Southern thing, But the girl was she drunk? Did he knock her out like people said he did? We don't know. But I have heard no new news about this. So what I'm saying, Big Ted, is the Ozzie Newsome machine getting its Ray Lewis PR spin on, man? Are we sweeping this under the rug?
I think we saw this done 14 years ago.
Exactly. And it was for a much more serious charge. I can say that.
Oh, yeah. There was a body. There was a body involved.
So, I haven't heard anything. It looks like they plan to proceed with their all-star running back like nothing happened in Atlantic City, man. And whenever I see fishy stuff like that, I got to hit them with it, man. Got to hit them with it, man. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to keep an eye.
Glad.
What's up, brother?
I'm sorry to interrupt. Sorry to interrupt you. I'm actually glad it's being swept under the rug. I'm actually glad they're letting the due diligence play out as if it was a normal human being instead of this being front page story. It was an isolated domestic incident. No one knows the facts. All we have is speculation. I'm glad it's not being run through the mill right now. That's not a light or a picture we need to paint. You know what I'm saying? So let's let it air out, and then we'll talk about it when the facts are released.
No doubt. So real quick, Big Ted, the businessman, the brand man. We're talking Anquan Bolden for 1 second. He's got a new contract discussion. Yes or no, is he worth Megatron money?
No way. Stop.
So Ted, you're the GM of the 49ers. What are you giving him? What are you going to give him?
I'll give him 2 years guaranteed, max $20 million. That's it. Isn't he already like 33 or 34?
He's in his 30s. He's a possession receiver. He's not Calvin Johnson. He's not Larry Fitzgerald. He's not, and they're around the same age. He is a great possession receiver. He's a very clutch receiver. He is a football player. However, you let him go test the market. The most he'll get, I think, is $7-8 million a year for maybe a 3-year deal. 3-year, $24-25 million, guarantee half of it. He's old. He has proven himself. He is a champion. He's a Florida State Seminole. So I love the guy. But hell no, who would even put him and Calvin Johnson in the same room together when they're debating wide receivers?
I mean, if you look at his numbers from this year, Crabtree, their number one receiver, went down. He stepped into that role. He had a good year. He didn't have a great year. He didn't have a Megatron year. He definitely he played well. He had some really good games, but his game started to pick up even more once Crabtree came back and was able to alleviate some of the pressure that he was facing. And then his numbers started to pick up even more. So he's not a true number one receiver in my book. I don't think that you can give him that type of money. I'm along with Bucko. I'd probably give him 3 years, $21 million contract. Like you said, about half up front, $10-12 million. But there's absolutely no way that he should be getting number one receiver money, especially, you hit on his age, and wide receiver is one of those positions. He might be able to still catch the ball, still, but a lot of teams are looking for big playmakers that can, burn by defenders and score quick touchdowns for him. And he's not that type of player anymore.
Gotcha. So, hopefully, they get him some nice mid-range money. They want to keep him in San Francisco because that's a nice little tandem they got there with Crabtree and Bolden. And hopefully next year Vernon Davis wants to show up as well. So that'll be a nice formidable threesome. So we'll see how that goes. And then some kind of way, some nonsense took place where the Cleveland Browns were calling the 49ers, since we're talking 49ers, and trying to get Jim Harbaugh in a trade to the Cleveland Browns. I don't know. I know, Bucko, you say you take all calls, man, but if I'm looking at my phone, I get Cleveland Browns, knowing what kind of debacle of an organization it is, I don't know if I'm picking up the phone, Bucko. I just don't see it. I don't see it at all. So, we'll see how that goes. Hopefully that's a non-issue. I think it has been brought out that it is a non-issue. So you don't give away a head coach that got you to the Super Bowl and was threatening the next year. You just don't do it.
Hey, Hez, it's a non-issue, but he's also high maintenance.
He is high maintenance, but he's a winner.
Well, and he's got some, there's some tension between him and the GM. And there's people in that organization, when they talk about Jim Harbaugh, they say he's crazy. And it's not like one of those ha-ha joking types. They are dead serious, meaning he's crazy. And, Super Bowl yet. He's producing winners, so his contract is up in a couple of years, and with there being tension between him and the GM, we'll see how long that can last. I mean, you got to have everybody in your organization on the same page, especially when it comes to draft and bringing players in. You want, the coach wants players for his system, and the GM starts overriding them, and then, you make Jim Harbaugh unhappy. And so, I mean, I don't think they'll trade him to the Browns, but it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of years. Once his contract does run out, what's going to happen to him?
I think the real big question is, can he win the big one? So he's going to have, 2 or 3 more seasons left on the deal. If he can pull one big one, then, it's a done deal. But if he can't, then don't be surprised, Hez.
I mean, that's crazy, man, to think that somebody like Andy Reid can stay in Philly for 15 years, competing for NFC championships, never getting to the big one. And they talking about a winning coach who came in the first year and made an impact. And that team was awful before he was there. For this to even be a real discussion is just another, notch in what I was discussing about the hypocrisy of the NFL, man. It's just like, what do you want to do? Do you want to win or do you want to lose? You got a top-notch defense. You got a quarterback that makes things happen, and you got a coach that galvanizing these guys. Do you want to win or not? You can't just plug in anybody as a head coach and be successful. So the fact that this was even a discussion is just plain, pure, ridiculous. But in other news, what isn't ridiculous, and all the single fellas out there are lining up at the news that they just got earlier this week. Matter of fact, we call this quick segment Blurred Lines, because the lines were blurred, but now they're clear. Single fellas out there, Paula Patton is no longer married to Robin Thicke. She is a single lady hitting for 10 out of 10 on the scale of 10. Go out there, amen, get your game up. Make sure your suit games is nice, So if you should run into this lady in the street somewhere, you let her know, man, the lines don't have to be blurred no more, Big Ted. We can clear those lines real fast. You know what I'm saying? Because that, man, that's first class right there, brother.
That's the real Ghost protocol right there.
You talking about, hey, you remember that whole slogan Obama was running with in 2008, hope and change? That's it right there, man.
Sir.
That's hope and change. So, yeah, man, we just wanted to have a little fun out there, man. But, yeah, man, like I said, she is single and ready to mingle. So if you are single, and that, matter of fact, I heard from the great Bucko Bruce that he would make himself single, man. I mean, that's how bad Paula Patton is, man. Now, that's something. That is something. But my man has been holding in the chamber. He's here. We got our UK fans that listen in, and we thank you for listening in to our discussions about American sports. Well, we wanted to carve out a little time for you, and not just, you there in the UK, but folks in other countries that are passionate about what's called football in, every other country, soccer in our country. We have the MLS. Big Ted, has written articles about it, and he's real passionate about what's going on, and, there in the New York area and out there in the Pacific Northwest as well. But Espo's going to give us an international view of what's going on. He's got a blog on barbershopsports.com discussing the UEFA Champions League. Espo, brother, thanks for holding it down and being patient. Welcome to the barbershop, man. What's good?
Not much, man. What's going on?
Oh, you tell me, man. I want to talk about this UEFA Champions League, man. This blog, and I'll just, start with a little bit of the hot fire that you got here, man. We in the 16th round of the Champions League, and 16 teams left. Out of the 32 teams that started, you got the defending champs Bayern Munich, and the runners-up Dortmund, which is another team out of Germany. What's the latest and greatest with that league right now? What's happening?
Okay, so and then I think there's like a certain amount of second place teams that qualify depending on how big the league is. For like each of the England has 2 spots because they have the biggest Barclays Premier League gets 2 spots. So basically they do a draw of 32 teams and they put them into pods of 4. So they put them into 8 pods and they say, okay, you play each other once at home, once away, and we're going to take the top 2 teams from each group and put them on to the round of 16. And the reason why they do home and away is because you do get the host and it's not a neutral field, whereas the World Cup, you play on a neutral field, so it's one time against each team. Whatever your score is, you're done. Whereas this is you go to each team's field and play the game. Basically, I mean, ever since it started, Real Madrid has won the most titles. They've won 9. Obviously, like I said, last year Bayern Munich won. That was their 5th title. Basically, what you're looking at right now is the round of 16 is the same way as the group play. It's going to be 1 game at home, 1 game on the road. Usually the team with the better points starts on the road because then they'll have their second game at home, which is an advantage and a disadvantage at the same time, because the disadvantage is if you go out on the road and don't score anything, you lose. Let's say you draw 0-0 on the road and then you come home and you draw 2-2, you lose because you gave up 2 away goals and you didn't score any away goals. So even though the scores are tied, you lost on the away goal rule. So, like I said, home field advantage in the second game could be beneficial and it could be detrimental. And speaking of detrimental, one of the most popular teams, Manchester United, who usually everybody knows Manchester United. Oh, I know Manchester United. They're dominant. They're usually top form, best in the UEFA. They lost the other day for the first time ever in the history of Manchester United. They lost to a team from Greece. It was the first time they ever had lost to a team from Greece. Not drawn, they plain out lost 2-0. A straight up loss to Olympiacos from Greece. They were, I believe, they were on the road on that game. So it was, it was a road game. But again, you lose 2-0. You're down 2-0. Now you got to win at home, and you got to win, 3-0 basically to overset that 2-0 loss.
Gotcha. Now, well, that's definitely big news with Manchester United being a dominant team. You can take that into any sport. When you have a big time team that's known for winning, when they lose unexpectedly, on the road or at home, especially against a team you don't, expect them to lose against. That's big news. Now, my homeboys, I got a couple of homeboys here, Espos, that are big time Chelsea fans. How is the Chelsea team doing in this tournament?
Well, they just literally finished their first leg. They were on the road against a team from Turkey, sorry, I can't pronounce that. It's one of those weird names, but it's a Turkish team from the Turkey League, and they drew 1-1 after going up early on a Fernando Torres goal, and basically they went up 1-0, 9 minutes in, 64 minutes later, Turkey answered and tied it 1-1. So now that's going to shift back to Chelsea, and basically Chelsea will be at home for the next game. And in order for them to close out this team, they either need to win the game or draw by a score of less than 1-1. Obviously, nothing would put them through and then eliminate that other team. Also, 1-1 would force penalties. So if it draws 1-1, they're going to go to penalties to settle it to see who advances.
Gotcha. Well, one of the things for the American fans, real quick, Espo, Here in America, when we talk about basketball, you think about players like LeBron James, Kevin Durant, so on and so forth. Football, you got Peyton Manning, you got guys like Colin Kaepernick. I mean, these guys are well known for being beasts and elite players. In this league, what are some names that stand out that we should recognize that are big-time players over there?
You got Leo Messi from Barcelona. Man's an absolute human highlight reel. Every time he touches the ball, he does something magical. You got Cristiano Ronaldo from Portugal, who plays for Real Madrid. Real Madrid, who just absolutely destroyed somebody on their home field 6-1. They beat somebody 6-1 on the other on that team's home field. So that's really like a demoral. You're done. You ain't winning unless you're going to beat Real Madrid 7-0 at their place, which ain't going to happen. You're done. You might as well just fold it up. But you got some other names that people may not know about is Gareth Bale. He's the striker from Wales. He's a pretty good a good player. You got again, Chelsea has Fernando Torres. Cristiano Ronaldo, I said. You got some. It depends how far of superstars. Those are the big name guys. Those are the guys that everybody will recognize, and be like, oh, I know that guy. He plays for this team on the international level. Gotcha.
Now, before we close out or like we like to call it, the tea time segment, just for me, just for Ted, and those folks that are into soccer here as well. How much of a difference in talent are we talking between guys that play in this league and the MLS?
It's like night and day. I mean, MLS has been known to get the guys who not aren't good enough, but are on the decline in the European leagues. See David Beckham, see Thierry Henry. He was with a major club. He was with the French national team, and now he's playing in the MLS for the Red Bulls. It just shows you, it's kind of like the progression down. The MLS talent's not there, and it never will be. I was just talking about it with somebody. The fact of the matter is, us Americans, we love our commercials. As much as we say we hate them, we love them. We pay money for them. You can't do that in soccer because there's no breaks. It's 45 minutes straight through. Then you get halftime. You get maybe 10 minutes, 15-minute break. Then you're back at it again for 45 more minutes with no commercials. So in America, we don't do that. I mean, if you watch a football game, a game that should take an hour and 20 minutes takes 4 hours. Because commercials. Soccer will never become what it is in Europe here. We don't have the talent. We don't have the television. The interest in television would be nothing. If they tried doing MLS on ESPN, nobody watched it. And it's because our attention spans are that short. Boom, 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 give me the commercial, let's go back into action. I don't think that we could sit for 45 minutes and watch it.
Hey, Espo, this is Ted. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, man?
Hey, listen, I understand that, but right now, I mean, soccer itself, I'm a big fan of MLS. Yes, I know it's like the watered down. It's kind of like being in the MLB and then going to go play in Japan after your career's done. And kind of similar like the NBA and going overseas. But right now, MLS is drawing more fans than the NHL and NBA. So what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think watching the game live versus watching on TV is completely different. I think you have a lot of Europeans and South Americans and even Asians who've come here, and I mean Asian by the continent, who come here to America and are living here. And I think that they go to the games that, even though it's not their brand of soccer, it's still soccer. I mean, if you have the love for soccer, you're going to go to a game. I mean, I'm waiting for Orlando to get their team so I can go check out their Orlando City team. Before they were in the MLS, I had no interest in seeing them because I couldn't imagine going to something that was below MLS. It was like that was even watered down talent even more. But they kept winning, and apparently that they said, okay, we're going to play in the MLS now. I want to go check it out. Now, I don't think I could watch an Orlando City game on TV, but I definitely would go to the stadium. So I think that's where it is, and I think the tickets are inexpensive. I think that they're not that expensive. Like as a ticket to the NFL, you can't get in for less than $150, for two people, and that's cheap. $150 for two people, and that's in the nosebleeds. I think at soccer, you pay $150, you're going to be in the goaltender's back pocket. So that's the difference.
Hey, Espo, the only thing that's more watered down than the MLS is the NASL, because we got the Cosmos out here playing by High Street University, and just like you said, I mean, you put $450, you're right there.
Yeah, I mean, that's
you got the best seat in the house.
And like I said, I mean, if you don't mind watching soccer and you just want to watch soccer, that's fine. You'll go to the games. But if you want to watch the guys, like, I mean, you got to see, if you guys ever get a chance, go look up some of the stuff that Messi does. Look up some of the stuff that Ronaldo does. We don't have talent like that here in the MLS. And we never will. They won't come here to play. There's not enough money. There's not enough, when the transfer window opens, there's not enough money for these guys to come over to us.
Wow. Well, I mean, hopefully some of these young kids, here that, let's say, for instance, like a Seth Jones, who kind of, stands out a little bit, where, he took an interest in a different kind of sport that, you don't see a lot of. Who knows, man? Maybe some of these young kids, we have to grow it internally and, not expect to try to, buy talent from Europe, or Brazil or, some of these other leagues.
We got to get people involved, and I think that's perfect actually into what I was going to tell you about. It's only 105 days away for the World Cup, okay? That's the biggest event, and I think we need to have, for American soccer, I root for Italy. Everybody knows pretty much that I'm Italian. I root for Italy in the World Cup. I root for USA second. I don't say I wish USA loses. I root for USA. It's just second to Italy. But what I'm saying is USA needs to advance out of this group. They need to find whatever they can do, figure it out, get in even at second place, beat out, lose to Germany, beat out Portugal. They're in a tough group. But if they can advance again and make progress again, I think soccer might gain some steam. If they go drop out in the group stages and they don't make it to the next round, I think soccer has another 4 years to wait before America can really embrace it. I think USA needs to make a deep run in this World Cup, and then, or any World Cup, and then the kids will want to play, because they'll look on TV and go, I want to be that guy who's scoring. I want to be Landon Donovan or, whoever. I want to be that guy scoring goals for the U.S.
Gotcha. Well, I'm going to be pulling for them, just like I was pulling for Team USA hockey. We're going to be transitioning to that in a quick second. But, as we get closer and closer to the World Cup, I know you're going to be coming with that high fire on barbershopsports.com. But come through, bro, and give us more breakdowns of what's going on, to, one, bring the American listeners up to speed, and two, our international listeners will definitely be in the loop, man. So we appreciate you coming on, brother.
And May 13th will be the next big date. That's the date when all international teams have to submit their lineup to FIFA. They have to do it by May 13th, so that'll be a big day. You'll find out who's on what roster, basically.
Gotcha. Well, we'll be building up to that, my brother.
All right, man.
All right, my brother. We'll catch up with you soon.
All right. Talk to you later.
All right. Thanks, man. So, yeah, man. I mean, Ted, you see, we got the correspondence coming through, man. You want to talk hockey, we'll bring in Todd, man. You want to talk NASCAR, bring in Chase. Now, international soccer, big Espo, man. I love it, man. I just love hearing, it's one thing to talk about something on the surface superficially, but when you're passionate about it, you're going to look at it from a completely different angle, and you can break it down like nobody else can. So I definitely, love when the guys from the Barbershop Sports Squad come through and, get their specialty on. Also, Danny, with basketball. But, B-Rye, it was no surprise. Canada was the team to beat in the Olympics for hockey. They wound up running into the U.S. and, finished up against Sweden for the gold medal. But, just kind of dialing it back a little bit to the U.S. game, they won 1-0. A lot of people are pointing fingers in different directions. Todd has an article on barbershopsports.com, where kind of Patrick Kane gets, a big bit of the blame. But bottom line, they dropped a goose egg. What's your thoughts on why they just kind of fell apart? And then following that up against Finland, they just kind of completely gave up. What was your thoughts on that, man?
Well, I think a lot of people are overlooking it. You got to give Canada due. There's the reason why there's a defending gold medalist. They live and breathe hockey up there. Just as much as I still hit on some of those countries about soccer. That's Canada's hockey. If you ever go to a game up there, it's absolutely insane. They love it up there, and they produce the world's best players. And what happened in that gold medal game is they dominated the U.S. They figured out the game plan to limit the United States from attacking the goals. They were able to protect Price back there in goal by not allowing U.S. to get good-looking shots on them. I read Todd's article, and Patrick, I think Kane should get some of the blame, but it's evenly passed all around in that locker room for the front lines of the U.S. Because the Canadian defense just absolutely shut them down. And I think it's hard for me, at least, to pinpoint one person, and especially hockey in such a team game where the shifts are so quick that you can single one person out. So I'm not going to get after Kane like that. But Phil Kessel, he was having a great Olympic tournament, and he disappeared in that game. You can go through the whole front line, and that's what it came down to. Canada had the perfect game plan, and they shut down the United States. Talent-wise, obviously, we're neck and neck, and the Canadians won another hard, tough battle. This one being 1-0. And then I think after losing that game and not playing in the gold medal game, it really, I guess you can say, left the wind out of their sails and depleted that team to where, like you said, they didn't show up in the bronze medal game.
Right.
With, Norway. And
Norway.
I think I think that's what happened. They just, after losing to Canada yet again, and this time not even getting the silver medal or anything, they'd be playing for bronze with having such high expectations of going in. They really just didn't show up, and they showed up on the ice, and that's why they got their butts kicked up and down again.
Yeah, man. I get behind all of our dream teams, B-Rye. Whether it's the last Summer Olympics when the U.S. soccer team was really, really kind of moving on up and getting that interest, and you see all of these people showing up to the bars to watch and see how Team USA is going to do. Same thing for the hockey team. That's our dream team. And just like our basketball dream team shows up, I expect all these guys to show up, man, and even more so for sports like hockey, because hockey is still trying to work its way back into the cream of the crop of pop culture since that big strike that took it out. And I'm hoping that these guys can bring their A game so that, people that have a very, very, minimal interest in the sport get sucked in, pulling behind these guys. And then, again, you got that young kid saying, yo, man, I want to be the next, Patrick Kane. I want to be the next, this guy, that guy. I want to be Jonathan Quick. I want to be T.J. Oshie. And when you lose, it's no shame in losing to Canada because, like you said, they're the best of the best. And the score was only 1-0. But then you come out and you just drop a complete goose egg. I mean, just you don't even come. It was almost like it was a bunch of replacements against Norway. It's a hard sell. So, hopefully, next, 2018, those guys come with it, man, because they kind of let me down, B-Rye.
Well, yeah, but, I mean, just hit on one of your points real quick is places like up around here where hockey is big. Ryan Callahan from the Rochester area, he was on the team. Patrick Kane from the Buffalo area. Those spots are already still hot with hockey, and those are the guys that they're looking up for, and they're already deep in trend. I mean, hockey starts at like 4 or 5 years old, and it's pretty much what you're seeing now in high school sports is not the 3-sport athletes hardly anymore. It's one sport. Hockey, you can travel all around and play year-round. Same thing with basketball. You play rec, and you play for the school, then you go on to AAU, and it's really, a lot of people are starting to just focus on one sport. And hockey around here, I mean, it's big. Even high school hockey, you see them drawing a couple thousand fans now that, the sectional playoffs are on right now. So, but, you did hit, with that point, though, I think drawing in some of those non-hockey fans, that was kind of where the letdown was. It was people that, maybe just a fan a little bit and watch it because it's the Olympics, and then they have it such a disappointing, they might not draw them back into the NHL. I think most diehard or even, rock-solid NHL fans are fully back now after the lockout. So, but what they need to do is to draw the new fans and get into those areas where, hockey isn't as prominent. So
right.
That's the part where, I agree with you. It's unfortunate that they did have such a poor showing in this Olympics, but, maybe just watching the sport, I mean, because there were some great games. Not just with the U.S. playing, but, other games. So it's, it was, one of my, I wrote the blog on it. It's my favorite event. I watched, a lot of games. I recorded a bunch, and we played well. And then, we ran into the juggernaut Canada, and it just, I think it really demoralized that team to go up against Canada again and lose and be so close again. And, it's unfortunate. But this could be the last Olympics where NHL players are being used. It's in the discussion right now of what's going to happen. If they're going to allow the players to take, a break in 4 years and go and play again. So right now that's up in the air. It could be going back to the days of the Miracle on Ice where it's all amateurs playing.
Oh, no, man. That's going in the wrong direction. You need your stars, man. You need your dream teams, the best of the best going up against the best of these other countries, You start putting amateurs in there, now you just completely letting the wind out of the sails, man. You know what I'm saying? You just got to be a die-hard hockey fan to watch that. It's just, for the casual guy and lady, if you say hockey, they may say Wayne Gretzky, and that's it. You don't got them. So as far as to pull a nation into it, I think that's the wrong direction. But hopefully, like we said, in 2018, they can get them again. But in other news, it was a crazy week down there in North Carolina, or as they call it, Tobacco Road. We just recapping Duke in North Carolina, where Duke played at North Carolina. Of course, everybody knows by now they lost. North Carolina kids ran out to the court in celebration. Duke fans were hot, salty, saying it was unprofessional and things of that nature. But me just looking at it on the outside, looking in, being a fan of, not a real fan of either team, especially not Duke. It's a bunch of college kids. I mean, what are you going to do? Now, on the flip side of that, the bigger game last Saturday was, the rematch of Duke and Syracuse. Now, we know that it was a monster classic game when Duke went up to Syracuse. I mean, it was just, clash of the Titans. And this was no less. Now, B-Rye, obviously you being up there and, Syracuse, territory, what was your take on this game in comparison to the first game?
I touched on it last week. I said I didn't think it was going to be such a high-scoring game. And it was a great game. And a lot of people are looking at Jim Boeheim and saying that he cost them the game. People are pointing to the left and saying that cost them the game. I don't agree with the call. I don't think it was a clear-cut charge or block. I would have been fine with no call. Duke having the ball 10 seconds left, but that didn't happen. I put it on Duke earning that win and Syracuse's backcourt costing them the win with the way that Tyler Ennis, he's been great all year, but he had his worst game. Committed some bad turnovers, terrible shooting. He was finished up like 1 for 10 from the floor. Cooney couldn't find anything. So, I had no problem with what Boeheim did. I think the game was over when that call was made. This group has been able to fight and scrap in those games and be able to keep Duke close. Great defense. And Duke wasn't shooting great from the outside, but, this is a team that's set up that where they're a dangerous team for Syracuse. How much talent and having a coach like Coach K there on the bench. So, I think you got to give credit to Duke. And like I said, I think Jim Boeheim, I had no problem. I love how he's been doing this for over 35 years and still has that passion. It's the first time. It's not like he does it all the time either. A lot of people have a problem with it. It's the first time he got ejected from the game. And I think he also helped his players with doing that because it deflected a lot of them from, falling under the criticism of losing straight games. One terrible game they lost to BC and then, losing a really tough game at Duke. They weren't asking the players, what's going to happen now you guys are in a 2-game slide. All the questions were about Jim Boeheim. And he has no problem with that because he knows how to deal with the media. If you watch his interviews, I think they're absolutely hilarious. I thought, great how
some of the best in the business.
Went out there and saying, I thought I did a good job. I stayed down. I didn't pull anything, and it's a tough call at the end with that charge block. I mean, I ref basketball, and it's the toughest call to make in basketball is that call. And with the new rules. So, I mean, like I said, I didn't agree with it. Like I said, I would have been fine with a no call. Because I don't know, it was such a bang-bang play. If the referee wouldn't have called anything, that would have been fine. Like I said, Duke would have had the ball with 10 seconds left. But it was a great game, and unfortunately it ended like that, on a tough call and Boeheim blowing up. But we fully support him up here in Orange Nation, and I'm hoping we can play him again in the ACC tournament, maybe title game. But we got to get by the leaders, and not too often spoke of Virginia Cavaliers leading the ACC right now,
Right.
Syracuse plays them on Saturday at 4 o'clock. So can't look ahead. This next game is going to be another really tough test for them.
No doubt. I mean, and this is why college basketball is in American sports, at least, one of the greatest times of the year right now as you're building up towards March. I mean, they call it March Madness for a reason, because it's some of the most competitive action that you're going to see in all of sports. You got these young kids just playing purely for the love, the passion of the game. You got some of these schools, you got these Hall of Fame coaches, Tom Izzo's and John Calipari and Rick Pitino, and like B-Rise mentioned, and Coach K, and up there in Orange Nation, Jim Boeheim. I mean, guys that if you follow the games, these guys' names. Even if you don't follow the game, there's some of them are beyond that, especially like a Coach K or a Jim Boeheim. So, I mean, yeah, I'm excited about it. I love this time of the year because it's really, really heating up. So we'll see how things go, man, how the seeding takes place. And, hey, if all else, you might win $1 billion. Look it up, Warren Buffett. You say you get the perfect bracket in March, he's going to give you $1 billion. Of course, you have a better chance of being struck by lightning while being eaten by a shark. But hey, give it a shot. What you got to lose? You know what I mean? But let's talk about real quick. Bud Selig and those owners, and the baseball MLB office has just implemented this new rule about the home plate. And, it's kind of set up to try to protect the players, from dealing with these whole, concussions and things of that nature. We know the NFL is one of the most, publicly, outfacing, I guess, organizations are dealing and addressing concussions, but it's also been being addressed, and the NHL with helmets and things of that nature, and now baseball is kind of getting into the mode of protecting its players. Now, when I looked at this rule, me personally, now granted I'm a casual fan of the sport. I really get involved around postseason to the World Series. I didn't have a problem with this rule. Basically, and I'll just quote it. A runner may not run out of a direct line to the plate in order to initiate contact with the catcher or any player covering the plate. If he does, the umpire can call him out, even if the player taking the throw loses possession of the ball. Now, on the flip side of that, the catcher may not block the pathway of a runner attempting to score unless he has possession of the ball. If the catcher blocks the runner before he has the ball, the umpire may call the runner safe. To me, I don't have a problem with that. If you don't have a ball, if you're the catcher and you don't have a ball, why are you standing in the way? And if you're a runner and you change your line to intentionally try to hit the catcher, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to draw that ball loose. The percentage of folks that run in the past, running into the catcher and knocking the ball loose, is slim to none. So you're going to be out. Not only you're going to be out, you might have a concussion. The catcher might have a concussion. So what was the point of it anyway? I didn't have a problem with it. Now, B-Rod, you a close follower of the sport, and Ted, you as well. So I kind of like to get your opinions. Ted, you had some things interesting to say on our production call. So how do you feel about this?
You know what? Safety first with everything. I mean, with all the professional sports. I don't know. I just kind of get the feeling that the fun is leaving the game of our 4 major sports. I kind of think back to seeing Pete Rose play. You see that hard-nosed type, player that's going to go out there, put his body out there, and hey, he was Charlie Hustler for a reason. But, I mean, I don't know. I kind of get the feeling kind of like if this was CYO, Catholic Youth Organization, or the Little Leagues or the Bad News Bears, then that's the route we should go. It's just all these rule changes totally taken away from the game. I mean, now granted, if someone does something malicious, like, hey, I'm just going to go take your head off, that's one thing. But, it's we're seeing it today with football, with the kickoffs. We're seeing it, you name the sport, they're talking about it, and it's all about less contact. B-Rob, I'm going to pass it to you.
Well, it's not that you can anymore. It's just he doesn't have the ball, and he can't fall at the plate. I think I like the rule because, I don't think you should be able to sit there and impede the runner if you don't have the ball. And when it comes to those collisions, the runners are even more likely to get injured than the catcher. I know the instance where Buster Posey, broke his ankle at the collision at home plate a couple of years ago. And I like how you mentioned Pete Rose because, oh my God, the name just left me. He took out an all-star catcher in the all-star game and ended his career with a collision at home plate. In an all-star game, nonetheless. I know he's Charlie Hustle, and trust me, I love Pete Rose, but, it's not, I think changing that is not going to disrupt the game. You talked about the youth. High school, you can't run the catcher over. It's automatic. You're out and automatic ejection from the game in high school. So, I think it's for everyone's safety. Like I said, I don't think it's going to change the game drastically when it comes to that. I think if catchers, you don't have the ball, then, get out of the way.
Get your ass out the way.
You don't want anything happen like, Buster Posey. He's a great young player. And, he's making a transition from catcher to first base now. And his ankle has somewhat to do with it because, it's a brutal position to begin with. Being down there and you're blocking the ball, especially in Major League Baseball. The guy's already throwing, 90 to 100, and you're back there catching it and diving around on your ankles and knees and stuff like that. I don't think you need any more collisions back there. So I like the rule. I think overall for the player's safety and the way that they didn't completely eliminate it. They just said in these instances there will be no contact at the plate. So I like the rule.
It'd be right. It was Ray Fosse, 1970 All-Star Game.
There we go.
There
I
you
had
go.
the name when you were talking, and you brought up, and I was like, oh. But thank you for that. It sits there because the name just completely left me. But yeah,
gotcha.
And his career, All-Star and playing in an All-Star game, and his game back then he didn't need anything, and never could play again afterwards. So
he had the shortest three-year career.
Yeah, man. You don't want your career to end like that. I know these guys are a lot bigger and stronger than those guys back then, but it's just ridiculous. But in other news, man, I think it's safe for me, for B-Ride, for anybody, out there. I'm going to go ahead and use Gary from Greensboro's word. I'm going to call her a monster. Who I'm talking about is Ronda Rousey, the girl at UFC 170. B-Ride wrote a fantastic article, previewing what was going to take place in that matchup. And she, again, completely dominated her opponent. Basically, anybody you're putting in front of her, she's destroying. She had a really, really cool interview on Pete Holmes last night on TBS. We actually put that up on Facebook, on our Facebook page for you guys to check out. Really cool around the way chick. Pete Holmes got in the ring with her, and she basically was, showing him how she does those judo throws and, how she does the arm bar. And I mean, she was just real cool and down to earth. And to see her flip that and turn on the switch and be all business when she's in that octagon is just like, man, it's just, it's a beautiful thing to watch, to see how she can turn that switch.
ExciteRadio.com.
Hey, this is Phil.
And this is Erin, and we're Heartbeat of a Planet.
And here's one of our friends to say hi.
Hi, I'm Andy Garcia, and I'm here.
As the sands of an hourglass move, superpowers wage war and devour dudes like sour fast food. Governments will clash through the past views, cause of oil and gas fuels, guerrillas will blast you. Invisible assassinations while undocumented cash moves. Rulers clash looking for that glass shoe. Imaginary excuses and half-truths, while innocent civilians are killed, hassled and harassed. Americans get to go to school. Time to break it down. Break down. From city to city and town to town. And as the backlash grew, promoting peace is past due. Trying to bring democracy to a socialist class view. Your approach is ass backwards, intention is half true. IED bombs blast, loot craters where grass grew. Feeling the killing heavy, they bring in the military and feel it necessary to leave nothing left to bury. No matter what side of the fence you ride, it's senseless how many innocent defenseless die. We call it